Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Transitions for More. I'm your host, Mike Urko, Marine Corps veteran. I've returned from Iraq and faced the challenges of PTSD, addiction, and grief to create a new life that is balanced and healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Each episode, I'll share some of my journey or interview inspiring veterans and subject matter experts to help us find that purpose and connection we all crave. You guys can follow the show on Instagram at Transitions for More. Join our TFW page on Facebook, Twitter, and transitionsformore.com. If you have any questions, comments, or topic ideas, feel free to email me at mike@transitionsformore.com. If you guys enjoy the show, please leave us a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Without any more dilly-dally, let's get to the interview.
We're going in progress.
I want. Sorry, I'm just wondering how many corporate, how many people had to, complain and then have Zoom recordings used for HR purposes before they put that thing up there, because it's recent.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah.
And we're back. Fucking
Woo.
nailed it.
Crushing it.
How's that shit. Life goes on and it's not bad. I'm looking forward to Dungeness crab season coming up, and that has nothing to do with athletics. It has everything to do with fishing.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
That's and you don't actually have to bait a hook for them, right? You bait traps.
Traps, and then there's snares you cast off with a fishing pole. That's my favorite method.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. So that's coming up in less than a month. So
some good eating.
Oh yeah. So that's going on. I have yesterday, as of this recording, would have been the Ironman World Championships had it not been delayed again. But we're pushed back another year. So
a full year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's the option. So tell me what you would have done. There's the option. It was delayed till February originally because of COVID. And about a few weeks ago, we got an email that said, okay, you can either choose to do the World Championships. We're going to have it twice next year. And you can choose to do it in St. George, Utah in May, or Kona in October.
I probably would have Googled. Okay, so my first instinct was definitely Kona, right?
Yeah.
But Utah is actually very pretty. So I'd probably look to see what St. George looked like. But
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous there. Yeah. There's something about just how iconic
Kona is.
For
sure.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
But there is that appeal to St. George. So it's a harder race, I think. But it's
harder than Kona.
I don't know. I've never done it, but
I thought you said that Kona was brutal.
It is, and St. George is brutal too. Maybe just in a different way. Maybe it's a lot hillier. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I would guess that, yeah. And if it's going to be you said summer?
May?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what elevation that's at. It's interesting for sure. But yeah, my first instinct would say to do Kona.
Yeah.
But side note, wouldn't mind doing an extended hike through Utah. It's really pretty out there.
I'm a fan of that state.
Yeah.
I was conceived and born in that state. So
were you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I think what usually happens if you live in Utah, I think Mormon missionaries try to eat my parents' brains. Either that or it was zombies. So we had to move away.
Sounds
Shout out
about
to all
right.
the Mormons who just like stopped listening to this podcast.
There's only like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny that you brought up Mormons today because I was talking to somebody last night and it reminded me of I had a Russian instructor back in the day who the guy is crazy now, like legit crazy. But back then, he was getting 05 pay basically, right? Like
Whoa, that's
this,
awesome.
they were like, I mean, they were or I think it might be 04, but like they're considered like you're supposed to treat them like they're a major. And this dude had a theory that the reason that the Mormons have missionaries is so that if there's any global instability at any point in time, they have people in place in all the key capitals around the world to be able to seize power. Yeah. Dude is crazy. And now he looks like if Dostoevsky fucked like Trotsky. I'm serious. He's got like this Dostoevsky beard with like the little.
I'm sure there's a niche market for that.
I was like, Elena, I asked my wife, I was like, okay, I'm understanding most of the words that this guy is saying because he had like this thing that he was like a YouTube video, that he was starting his own YouTube channel or whatever.
Yeah.
And because I just looked him up and I was curious what he was doing, and it turns out he was going absolutely insane. Because it was one of these things where she like watched it for a little bit, and I was having this problem where I could understand the words he was saying, but then when you strung them together in sentences, they didn't make any sense. And that's exactly what she said. She's like, dude, no. She's like, that's not you not understanding Russian. That's that guy being
word salad, we call it in the biz.
Word salad.
Word salad. There's no context.
But it was like that word salad where people are out of touch with reality. You know what I'm talking about. Where you like clearly there's some issues there.
Seen it a lot, especially when I worked in downtown San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been wild.
Oh, it was. I just remember walking to work because I worked in the homeless outreach team. And I remember walking to work one day and I stepped over human shit. And then I looked at pigeons eating vomit on the sidewalk. And right after that, I was watching people like use coat hangers to like try to like break into somebody's car. They just looked at me and I looked back at them like, hey, you do you, boo. Like, I'm not getting in the middle of this. And then they just went back to like trying to jack this car. So
that is the quintessential San Francisco experience, man. That's like
tenderloin to a T.
Yeah. I was the other guy who's out here in this program with me.
Yeah.
He was in the master's and now he's in my PhD program. He's from Nebraska and he played like something like D3 basketball. And he was telling me that, the first time he left Nebraska was for a trip to San Francisco to go play. And they didn't realize it, but they wandered the wrong direction from like the Union Square area or whatever. Tenderloin. And he said he was horrified. Like he's never had seen anything like that in his life,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we just kind of take it like it's like whatever.
Oh yeah. I've become somewhat desensitized to it. It's still pretty bad, but thank you. But it's not anything like it would be for like someone showed up for the first time who's never like left the Midwest or some like nice place to live and seen that.
Exactly. Yeah.
The same way that like when we make jokes about something like brutal or something like horrific, civilians are like, oh, how could you say that? We're like, welcome to a Tuesday at the barracks, bitch.
Oh God. Yeah, man. So you've been training this training cycle for the Kona. What does that look like? I need stuff to feel motivated about, like short-term things in front of me. How are you doing that?
Well, it's involving taking a big 3-week break for me right now because it's been hard to train for something that was supposed to happen fall of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen 2 years later. I hope not with, with no certainty either. So
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, yeah, I can't really talk smack or anything because I did not do my half Ironman this year. That was a donation.
oh yeah.
The
Oh,
race
you actually
fee.
signed
It
up
was
though,
like
but you were going
I
to do it.
signed up and then I didn't like I signed up and then almost like right after I signed up was when like my hip started being funky and my whole training regimen just went downhill. But I was training 6 times a week before that. Probably pushed it too hard.
Yeah, you most likely
Um,
started overtraining. That's the easy thing to do is to get hurt right off the bat within the first 3 weeks because you have that I just signed up motivation
mhm.
and then training really hard and then you get burnt out mentally and physically. But it's hard to like harness that motivation to like take it easy at first
Mhm.
because we just want to go fucking crush it.
Yeah, it was for me. It was really tough, and actually, yeah. So I had been training through the winter. Like I think I started training around November, so I ran the whole winter and did indoor trainer stuff for the bike, and of course was not swimming because it was COVID. Like everything was shut down out
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly.
But then what was really messed up is I started to get into stride, and then the training program I was doing was this 80-20 program. And they're like, okay, if you're like if they said if you're overweight, but like basically if you're a fat shit, like you got to watch out on this and don't push it too hard. And then it was like right around that time I was signing up, and yeah, I was super motivated, but I had established mostly a baseline, but I was not used to going fast, let alone fast at
Yeah.
like what would basically be a ruck run weight for me when I was in the
Uh-huh.
Marines, you know, and just, yeah, body started to fall apart. Everything, hurt. And then I slacked and just fell off, man.
Yeah, it's tempting to do those faster workouts, and that's good if you have the strength like to do them. But the advantage of like the fast workouts, especially like the sprints and like hill repeats and shit like that, is that it if you're plateauing fitness wise,
Mhm.
it I'm not a scientist, I'm not a mathematologist, I'm not a doctor, but it really like up levels you, does something to your hormones that where it really kicks in,
Mhm.
something to help you progress. But there's not like doing too much fast stuff is not a benefit to guys like you and me.
Right. Especially with all the lingering injuries and shit from the Marines. And then
Yeah,
on top of that, yeah, it's not like we're going to break records, right? Like we're just let's go to finish, guys. Or you call it
yeah.
a
Oh,
respectable time. I say go to finish, guys.
yeah, exactly. Go to finish, guys. You do
Go to
this.
finish, guys.
Yeah,
Just get there.
yeah. That's the next t-shirt. It's just do that shit. Just do shit, fuck, and then go to finish, guys.
Go to finish, guys.
Our next t-shirt coming up in the merch shop, right?
Yep. Dude, I don't know, man. I would like to I don't know. I want to do some I was going to do one this weekend, but I'd like to do some stuff that's just long but not a triathlon,
Yeah.
like the adventure racing where you like have to
Yeah, that looks cool.
orienteer. Yeah, like just where I mean they have one here, or at least they did last year. I don't think it was held this year where you did like a mountain bike for part of it and you hike for part of it, and then there were two legs where you actually canoed, like you had your
Yeah,
own
I hear
canoe.
you.
That would be rad. I would like to do something like that. Something that like I feel like triathlon for me, it seems like an expensive. It's like a rich white man sport.
It's a rich white guy thing, dude, for sure.
I really like the idea behind like ultras and this type of thing. It all depends really on my body hanging like holding up. But
Yep.
with these adventure races, you're basically mostly mountain biking and walking. Like you don't have to really run if you're it's endurance in that can you stay awake for these multiple day events, whatever. Obviously, you don't start there,
right?
And do land nav.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's a cool skill to have, you know.
It is.
But I don't know. We'll see. I just gotta get training again.
Well, let's digress.
Let's talk. Yeah.
How'd you do in land nav back in did you do land nav at MCT?
I did land nav at MCT. I did land nav a little bit at OCS. And then I did when I was doing the radio recon RIP program.
Oh yeah.
Or like the screening and shit, we did land nav there. But I there's some that I was not good at. Like I remember specifically on this one, like on the screening, there was it was a crossroad, but it had very odd angles. So it was like an X.
Okay.
Almost touching, right? And this saved my butt, but it was but now I always kind of feel like I cheated. So like I had my next checkpoint lined up. I knew which path I was going to take, and I was on my way, and I hit this crossroads, right? And one of the cadre members was coming, and the guy had the coolest name. His last name was Six Killer.
Six Killer?
Right? Six Killer. That was the dude's name.
Oh man.
Right?
How could you not
so
be a complete murderer with that? That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. So Six Killer comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, which way are you going?" And we had this we were pogues, but we had a sandbag in our ruck. So it was not an easy load to carry. It was around 100 pounds, but it wasn't like body gear. It was just hanging right on your shoulders. You know what I'm talking about. It sucks. And so I'm walking and I'm about to go left on this crossroad. And he goes, "Hey, where are you going, man? Which way are you going?" And I was like, "I was going to go that way." And he goes, "Are you sure about that?" And so I took the other way.
Yeah.
And I
he didn't want to come back
there
for the remedial shit.
Exactly. And no one wanted me to go get lost in the woods somewhere. You know what I mean? There were only I think by that time we started with 6 guys and there were 3 of us left. And so they're just waiting for us to finish just 3 days of our, tooling around in the woods, alone.
Yeah.
And dude, but so I feel okay, I'm decent, but when it comes to that fine type of decision, I'm not great.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm great either. I'm okay. Let me tell you about land nav. I thought it was going to be easy once we hit the flatlands because I did an MCT over at Pendleton, right?
Right.
So you got line of sight pretty far, but you going up and down the hills. And I was like, okay, Camp Lejeune, flat. It should be easy. But you're going through a fucking swamp.
Yep.
And I got so many goddamn ticks.
That was Verona Loop too, right?
Verona Loop. Yep.
Yeah, that's where we did our shit actually.
Dude, so many ticks. At one point I counted 29 ticks on my body that I pulled off.
Wow.
That was when I started counting, and that was at one time.
You're lucky you didn't get Lyme disease, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I look back at that now and I can't believe it.
Yeah,
Lyme disease.
Lyme disease. And out here they have this encephalitis, tick-based encephalitis. I want to take my kid camping, but he's just turned a year.
Yeah.
And they can't get vaccinated for that until after a year. And I definitely don't want my kid having that. You know what I'm talking about? Encephalitis head.
Dude, I pulled a tick off my daughter at some point last year. Sarah was combing her hair or brushing her hair, and then she's like, "Come over here, Mike." And I come over there, and there's this tick hanging off, and she's, the little kid's going what is it? I'm like, just hold tight, so I got some tweezers and gently pulled it out because it would start to embed,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it
was a wood tick, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yup.
Oh.
So got that thing out. I was ready to do the thing where you heat up the tweezers and you touch it so it
crawls backwards out.
Yeah, so it dies and releases its grip.
Yeah.
But ticks, not cool. This podcast officially does not approve of ticks.
Ticks suck. So did you okay, here's a question. You're a California native, or you lived most of your life there, even though you come from Mormon country.
Yeah.
So did you feel all right. So for me, coming from Minnesota, we literally have like one thing that can kill you. Like nominally, I think we have a couple rattlesnakes that are around, but I've never seen one. Like it was not something even when I was a Boy Scout and we went camping that we really had to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay. The main thing for us was brown recluse. But okay, first off, I'll ask you this question, which is, did you think the wildlife hated you more in North Carolina or in California?
North Carolina.
Like North Carolina? Okay. That makes sense. Now, did you notice that there was like, it seemed like the hotter the place, like the uglier and more dangerous the wildlife got? Did you notice that? Like,
I noticed the more hot and humid, the more fucking bugs there were. That's for sure.
okay. Yeah. Well, that's true. I guess I didn't really mind the bugs. Like I'm used to that. Minnesota, like we always jokingly say that the state bird is the mosquito.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were bigger in North Carolina, but the first time I ever had to like clap out my boots,
yeah,
before putting them on, that was Camp Pendleton.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing like field training, yeah, for scorpions and shit. And like, I was never afraid of tarantulas, scorpions. I was never really afraid of like rattlesnakes prior, but rattlesnakes in California. And then, there were alligators. I don't know if you know this, but there are alligators out or crocodiles in North Carolina.
Yeah, I just heard this. My unit has this like, it's like there's a lot of guys on this chat, including our old chaplains, some lieutenants. I think our sergeant major and one of our first sergeants is on it, but it's hilarious because we put some horrendous shit on there. But apparently there was a dude, Schaefer. So shout out to Schaefer. With the dude, he was walking through the barracks and he was like feeding an alligator raw chicken in a shower. So yeah, been verified by a couple people. Yeah.
Whoa.
And Schaefer,
welcome to the barracks.
Exactly. Welcome to the fucking infantry barracks, man. But Schaefer was like one of the biggest like meatheads you could imagine, and love the dude. But his passion was like lifting things, and he was humongous. So you imagine a guy like that just like throwing raw chicken to an alligator and in the shower, and duty walks in. It's like, how to put this in the logbook.
I saw a picture that was someone on. I have a similar chat, but it's not like it's just anyone who's been to a radio battalion. It's not necessarily like my second radio or anything.
Uh-huh.
But there's someone found a picture of it was like a Snapchat picture, and it said, "Remember the time we had a mountain lion in the barracks?"
I saw that,
and I think it was a stuffed mountain lion.
It looks like
that's
it.
Still
there's no way.
Wild.
There's no way a wild mountain lion would be sitting on a bed like that. It could. There's
no way. Unless I could see it if it was like tranked or if it was like a foster.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would end up. Yeah. No. I don't think it would end up in a barracks room like that.
Yeah, no wild mountain lion is going to sit down and purr and get pet by people.
I don't know, man. You saw Tiger King.
Season 2 is coming out, man.
Is it really?
Fuck yeah.
I heard that they're going to do a dramatized one of that whole thing. And Kate McKinnon is going to play
Baskins?
Yes, Baskins. Yeah.
Who's going to play Tiger King? You know who I hope it is? I hope it's David Spade as Joe Dirt.
Oh, that would Tiger be great. King. That would be perfect. That would be perfect.
No one likes you, Joe Dirt. Brandy doesn't like you. She don't want you around.
Oh God, Joe Dirt.
So good.
Damn. It feels like it was goddamn lifetime ago, man.
It was a lifetime ago.
You ever feel old?
I feel that way right now. Napoleon Dynamite happened 17 years ago, bro. That's a classic film now.
God. Yeah. Someone went to, like, one of my Facebook friends went to an Alanis Morissette concert in like Sacramento. And she was saying some stuff like, 25 years ago since Ironic came out. And I was just like, I
Yep.
don't know, man. I don't even know what else to say about that. I just feel, and it only gets worse from here. That's the worst part.
Dude, I stopped I realized I think a year or two ago that I'm like, oh, I'm way out of like pop culture. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
I'm like when younger people look at me, they just see, oh, old guy. So I'm kind of
I
okay with
feel
that
that
now.
I feel that more because I work at a university, you
Yeah.
know? And so like I go to like when I go eat lunch or something at the like when it was just me and no one was around, then it
Yeah.
wasn't a big deal. But then like the students came back because last year, no one, you know what I mean? Like first I was a master student and then COVID happened. So I didn't see students in big groups until literally like this September, even though I've been
Oh,
in the
right.
PhD
Yeah.
program until like, for a while now. And then I go to like the sock building where you can, go eat. And it's just like a bunch of 12-year-olds running around. And it's like, dude, I must look so ancient to them,
Does your mom know you're here?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh God. And there's a like language barrier. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's interesting just to look at I mean, at least for me, I demarcate my life by, okay, like, elementary school, middle school, high school, going into the Marine Corps, deployments, getting
Mhm.
out. And then since getting out, the big demarcations have been finishing college, children being born, wedding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But to actually look back and see how far it is from me, oh shit, what is today? The 10th. Dude, today it's 20 years ago since I went to boot camp.
For real?
For real,
Today.
today. Today.
So today you would be retiring essentially.
Yep.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you lived to this point in time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who didn't make it,
Yeah.
civilians and Marines, straight up.
No kidding, man. I didn't plan this out at all, but like I was thinking back on it. Yeah, today's 20 years exactly since I stepped on the yellow footprints and got my ass chewed. And since I got
Wow.
my head shaved and looked at my ugly, pale, fat face in the window at night, being like, we got a lot of work until I become a Marine because that does not look good. Oh my God, I look so doughy. But yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. It's a shit. It's October 10th. So that would have been, yeah, I was a senior in high school right about now. But yeah, it's still 19 years and some change,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You
It's
went
like
in like what? Did you go in right in after you graduated, like June?
4 days after I graduated high
Oh
school, I was
man.
in boot camp, which sucked.
I would
But
have
my
done better that way. I would have done better that way. I just ate McDonald's all summer, did not train, and then went in fat as fuck.
Yeah, I didn't train either. That was I looking back now, it was really dumb, because like I ran pretty fast. I mean, for what would be fleet fast,
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Right.
boot camp fast. I was like a 22-minute 3 mile like my whole life until Marines, and then I got it down to like 19. And then back to like 21. But yeah, I could do the 22-minute 3 miles. So I wasn't like the worst, but I could only do like 7 pull-ups.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know,
I had a
and
weak
like
upper
that's
body at first.
yeah, it's completely different now. They do push-ups too, and it's like I don't know, dude. Like that's when I started to realize that I was old. It's kind of like you were talking about. Like so, we were in college at this point 10 years ago,
Yep.
and for me, I've had a couple more, I guess, lines of demarcation, you could say, because then I had that Cisco thing I went to.
Mm-hmm.
That was 7 years ago, and then moving to Estonia was like 3 years ago. I didn't realize this, but man, like the last race I ran was like 4 years ago, dude. Do you realize that shit is insane?
That's a college
Insane.
degree away.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
college degree away. There you go.
Speaking of college, man, I went back to Cal last weekend. Went and watched Cal football game. They made me veteran of the game. So I stood up and they like put the camera on me. They talked a little bit about what I did with Iron Man and Gold Star Families. It's
Oh,
pretty cool.
awesome.
But it was actually the first time, even though I live here in the Bay, first time I'd been back on campus since I left, since I graduated. So that was a trip to walk around.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
everything has changed, but it's almost the same.
Yeah.
And it's like the people, it's like almost the same types of people. Like the clothes change, but you still see the same types. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like if you were a casting agent or whatever, there's still the same people there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, dude. And I felt that way. I feel that way going back to Monterey.
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt that going to Cal because I had to like get some paperwork done, before I came out here. Copies of everything. But Monterey was funny though, because I could pretty much still pinpoint like, okay, that guy's in the army. He's probably like a Korean linguist, and this guy over here is going to be an Arabic linguist. I don't know. Like for some reason, the Korean platoon always got like the weirdest people. Like if a dude is like dressed up like a goth and he's got a shitty haircut, it depends on how tough he looks, but he could be Air Force Korean linguist. Like you could just tell, man, by like the way they would carry themselves. Like each service had a different way they would carry themselves.
Yeah.
And you would still like DLI, Deranged Love Institute, is where I learned that no matter how ugly you are, there is always someone out there who is willing to fuck you. That's so, like,
yeah.
Oh,
you need to make that into a Hallmark card. Send that to your ugly friends.
I want you to know.
Bro. Don't worry, bro. Someone's out there to fuck you. We know that.
Yeah. There's like, I just wish, how there's like all these, you always hear, it always seems to be like women, like their moms are upset that like their daughter's not married and having kids yet. Right. And they're like, oh, is she going to be a spinster or whatever? I wish we could like have a service that we would just go rent like apartments in Jacksonville and just send women out there. And then they could, work at the Texas Roadhouse for about 6 months. And then, leave with a husband like that.
Yeah.
That would work, dude.
You're now married to a Lance Corporal.
Yep. And he'll, I don't know, give you health insurance at least. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I can see that working out pretty well, especially Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Yeah. Place is so horrible. Actually, I don't know what it looks like right now.
I want to go back there.
You do or don't?
I do. I really want to go back there.
It'd be like Cal, but you would remember all of like the shitty times.
I want to go. Yeah. I want to go just like drive around and be like, yeah, I remember that strip club. Remember this cheap hotel we used to like party at.
Dude, I got out of there without ever going to a strip club.
Wow.
I'm proud of that fact.
I would be too.
Like, yeah, that even got me in trouble with some of the guys in my platoon. They were like, dude, we're all going to a strip club. Why aren't you going? I was like, nah, I'm going to hang with these guys tonight. And they just could not understand why I would not want to spend my, money at the strip club.
At least if you're throwing money at a tattoo parlor, you have something to show for it.
It's true. And then, I don't know, I went out to eat a lot there. I think that was probably what I spent most of my money on.
Yeah.
Because, the package store alcohol was not expensive. I drove like a pickup truck the whole time. I didn't go buy a 4-banger Mustang from 1998 for a 21% APR.
Oh, dude.
I was lucky there.
Camaros and Mustangs.
I call it the Lance Corporal car. I still can't, to this day, I see a Mustang, unless it's one of the really high end, where they have like the Cobras, and then there's there's that one designer guy, I can't remember his name, the Shelby or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's one of those, when I see a Mustang, I automatically kind of want to barf in my mouth a little bit. Right. Still to this day, that's something that doesn't leave you. That's how you got stationed in Lejeune.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I want to go back there. I also want to drive around base, look at my old barracks.
I'm pretty sure my old barracks got torn down.
French Creek?
Yeah, like Radbin is no longer in French Creek. which means no tank trails to run on and no water sewage treatment plant to swim through the pools
Yum,
anymore.
yum, yum.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. And then, or not pools, I should say, more like collections of water that you shouldn't be swimming in. And I don't know, man. I wonder if there's more than one Starbucks there now. Because
Oh, yeah, probably.
when I left in 06, they had first gotten, like, I went to Iraq and I had been hanging at this coffee shop right on Western that was like an old bank,
Uh-huh.
and, and then like I went and I came back and then that coffee shop was gone. It was completely destroyed and they had built a Starbucks on top of it. Like, and it was the first Starbucks in Jacksonville. It's like local shop,
Yeah, I can see the locals like not taking to that kindly at first.
Yeah.
What is this Yankee coffee?
And then loving it after a little while.
Exactly.
And then, do you remember when they put in, I think you were there around the same time, but where they put in, I hope I haven't told this story before. So there's the Texas Roadhouse.
Yes.
Like there had been a Texas Steakhouse and then they did Texas Roadhouse. Now the difference was one of them, you could throw the peanuts on the floor. And they also imported all of these like waitresses. I say waitresses because it was all women. They imported all these women from like Raleigh and Greenville and like all the surrounding area. They were not native to Jacksonville at all. And then basically like, so there was a grand opening and then I went back like 6 or 8 months later and the whole staff was just pregnant.
Yeah.
just pregnant waitresses everywhere. And oh my God, that's why I made that joke earlier, but I don't, were you around for that or no?
I don't remember. It's kind of a blur.
You were probably like actually doing something worthwhile for the Marine Corps.
Well, that, and then when I got back, I was just going bar to bar and just getting drunk everywhere. So it's a little bit hazy,
Yeah, that's understandable. Do you remember any of the bars you used to actually go to?
I remember Archie's right off base. It was a little shithole. I did a lot of barracks drinking though, so I didn't.
So did I. I was underage for a lot of time when I was there, and then I picked up sergeant at 20, and I was just the worst sergeant ever. So I stayed in for 8 years. Let's see. So like, what was that strip club that was right off base? Like I can picture it, but I can't.
Driftwood.
Driftwood, yeah, and you would drive past it, right? Like when you were going to the main gate.
Some people would drive past it. Some of us would actually stop there.
Oh, yeah, of course. There was a place that everyone went that had a Thirsty Thursdays. I want to say Jugs or something, and you could bring your own cup, and then they would, drink. They would fill it regardless of the size. It was like some shit beer, like Natty Light or something. So people would bring in those like big sip cups or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? These,
like
giant
big gulp stuff from like,
like a big gulp.
7-Eleven.
Yeah, from the gas station. Yeah, they just go buy a pop, throw it out, or a soda, whatever, depending on where in the country you're from. And then they would just go pay $2 and they would fill this thing full of beer. And then it was not good. Not a good look for most of the guys.
No, but what I miss most is some nice beaches there. I would not mind going back as much as I bitched about that. If I left California, North Carolina would be one of the first places I would go outside of the state.
The Outer Banks are amazing. When I went back there for that Cisco thing, and it was in Raleigh, and it was like a completely different state in my mind at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one thing when you're in Jacksonville and like, I mean, some of the guys had like if you talk to the people who went there for multiple enlistments, what they'll tell you is like, yeah, dude, you just don't live in Jacksonville. Like you live, Carolina Beach or something, or like Topsville, or was it Topsville?
Topsail Beach?
Topsail Beach, and there's another one to the north, in like Emerald Island or something, like Emerald Isle.
Yeah.
And if you do one of those, you drive in and out of the back. Well, I guess let's say not the main gate, because if you're north, you go through that other gate. I can't remember the name of it, by the trash dump. And if you're out toward Wilmington, then you're already a little ways away.
It's got to be like that for
Like-
so many military towns. Like you get your family to live like maybe 20, 30 minutes outside of it, so they aren't subjected to the debauchery and just like drunk E3s wandering around town.
Yeah.
Nah.
Like I wonder how many people, because Pendleton, it's the closest one is Oceanside, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, I knew guys who lived almost like down in San Diego when you were down there.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about out there is you got 5 million people living in that area.
You can blend
like
in
between San
pretty
Diego
easily.
and LA. Yeah. Like sure, maybe, I'm sure Marines are just not as relaxed as most like Southern Californians. So I think you can definitely but also, I mean, dude, I heard a lieutenant colonel one time refer to, here's what he said. He said, we're going to run this classroom like you would run an office in the Marines and not one of those fascist Camp Lejeune offices. That was what he said. So like, I think it's a little more chill out in Pendleton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're in Jacksonville, man, all you got is the Marine Corps. All you got. That's like the major economy is there. When too many people, like I think it was OIF 1, like when too many people went out, didn't they like, maybe it was the Gulf, or maybe it was just urban legend, I don't know, from like way before. Remember, like they shipped half of Lejeune off,
right.
And then like most of the bars in the town folded. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like you remember hearing that?
Yeah.
You probably weren't there for that.
I think I was deployed for that. I was
so you were one of the OIF 1.
Yeah.
That was okay. And do you remember coming back and seeing it just everything closed?
No, I just remember getting drunk at the barracks.
just like, what do you? Oh, drunk at the barracks. Yeah,
drunk at the barracks.
The answer is like, what's your favorite part about Lejeune? I have to say, getting drunk at the barracks.
Getting drunk at the barracks.
And what's the craziest thing you ever did at Camp Lejeune? Getting drunk at the barracks.
I think one of the crazier things I did, besides shooting fireworks at people taking showers in their barracks room, was
that's hardcore.
I notice the word acquire. I acquired some bowling balls from the bowling alley. And then this is like a Saturday night. And then whoever had their barracks room door open, we'd like from the quad, we'd like bowl into their room. And it was a strike if you got it in their room. So we might have been a little intoxicated.
Yeah, there was a lot of pissing off of decks.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of getting drunk and like running the tank trails for some reason. So one time, this is messed up, man. One time they got drunk, right? It was up field day night, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like one of these turned up, like pretty big parties, and someone pulled one of the fire extinguishers off the wall and then went into someone's room at like 2 or 3 in the morning while they were sleeping and just lit that thing on them, like just opened it up and just the whole room. Right.
I was sleeping when he did it.
The guy was sleeping. Yeah.
He was fucking asking for it then.
And he was, well, and the problem is he wasn't even a dude who was like one of the partiers. He was just like this nerdy guy. He just was like laying in his room, and I guess he didn't have his door locked or whatever. And they just
huge mistake.
But,
how do you not lock your door?
Yeah, that is the problem, right? Not the guys who stole a fire extinguisher.
You're really asking for it.
Here's what happened. So, it wasn't me, but here's what ended up happening is the first sergeant somehow they cleaned up the fire extinguisher mess, right?
Yeah.
Before field day inspection the next day. But the first sergeant noticed the fire extinguisher missing. And so he basically secured weekend liberty until someone shit themselves a fire extinguisher. And 8th Comm was down a fire extinguisher by the end of that.
Yeah.
Or actually, I should say they were down a full fire extinguisher.
Yeah. By the little Indiana Jones switcheroo.
That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, but someone. That's how we got out of that one.
Switching topics a little bit, looking forward.
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to sign up for? You got an adventure race in mind?
Um, I gotta figure out what ones are in like what I'll call the tri-state area here, like the Baltics.
Uh-huh.
Um, I want to be able to like, the year I went a little crazy in 2017, I did like a series of races to kind of build up.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm going to just try and increase mileage gradually, look for what races are happening in 2022, and then, see what's available and then try to even if it's like not exactly the exact same venue of race.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put on some like orienteering events. I'll do a couple 5Ks, maybe 10K, build up and
Yep.
then and do it that way.
I'm not sure what I'm doing. I know I'm going to do Kona if it happens. Escape from Alcatraz again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Summer. Yeah, I can't wait. And then other than that, though, I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe I feel like I have another half Ironman in me for that year for 2022.
That wouldn't be the worst thing, right? To like, well, how significantly different is the training schedule that you would follow for a half compared to a full?
It's less intense, at least for the long bike rides, but
Mhm.
it's pretty similar in terms of like the volume I'd be doing at least at first. So usually I'll do a race and I'll like have it like halfway through my like training cycle leading up to
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I
that
don't know,
makes sense.
man. We'll see. I tell you what, I
It's
want to
very
get
cool.
back into the swing of things with triathlon, but this break is nice. Like I'm really enjoying just the dropping my pack for a little bit
Mhm.
so I can really get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I'm
got to be
ready.
rough. Like, talk about endurance, right? Like, just 2 years of not being able to run that race and kind of being like, okay, I got to train, but yeah, that would be rough, man. Like
Yeah,
mentally, like you want to see that payoff sometime,
exactly.
It's like,
But until
um,
then, I got another
yeah,
hobby, which is fishing. So I'll be taking my boy out fishing this morning,
nice.
which is going to be good.
Mine is asleep in his stroller right now.
Nice.
Um, yeah, it was our friend's birthday, so we went over and we didn't give him any cake though. He got cake on his first birthday,
Yeah.
and he's like face dived into it,
I
but
love watching that. It's such a great
but
tradition.
yeah. But yeah, so today we just, we were over at a friend's house and then I don't know, he ate a bunch of like biscuits, went crazy, baby biscuits, and then he like
Mm-hmm.
was wrecking everything and then got, you know how they get where
You
they
know how
start
they get.
crying and stuff. And hey, you know what? For long term wise, what I would like to do, even if I walk it, I don't care. There's a race that goes through Greece
Really?
that some Royal Air Force guys put together. I think it's set up as like a 4-day ultra marathon or something, but it's like 250 miles, and
Ooh.
it's the actual route that guy wrote or that he ran to inform Sparta that Athens had been victorious at marathon. It's
Uh-huh.
where the term marathon comes from.
But Phoedipides, I fucked that
Yes,
up. Who's
something like that. Yeah,
yeah. Someone there is laughing at me.
and then he
I
died. Right?
sound like yeah, exactly. I sound like someone who just says library.
It's like the library. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
exactly. Pacifically, the library.
But that would
That'd be
be
cool.
so awesome because Greece is just so beautiful, man.
Yeah,
You know,
been there.
you have.
Yeah, went to the island of Crete. I would love to go back there.
Oh, nice.
Flew out to OAF1 from there.
Ah, okay. But you haven't gone like just for fun.
I got to go on Liberty a day or two, but yes, I haven't gone as a civilian.
Got it. Got
So
it.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's Pheidippides, and it's called the Spartathlon.
Nice.
The male record is 20 hours, 25 minutes.
Jeez,
That's so crazy, man.
that's insanity.
155 miles in a day and a half.
That's insanity.
Yeah, I would, I don't know, maybe want to do the route, but not necessarily on someone's timeline.
Yeah.
You know, like because I don't know. I would have to be really beast mode for that because it's a lot of elevation change too. Nowhere near that now. I'd be lucky to run a 10K right now.
I feel you. I feel you on that, man. Well, speaking of timelines, get ready to go do some fishing. And I think
All right, buddy.
we have done our due diligence for this episode.
I hope so. I hope people are entertained by the Camp Lejeune shit stories.
Exactly. Yeah. If you
Send
got
us some
good
feedback.
yeah, if you got some good barrack stories, send it in. If they're good enough, we'll read them on the show for sure.
Sounds good. That would be awesome. Yeah. Do it up, guys.
Do it up.
And ladies.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure the ladies got some good barrack stories.
Hell yeah.
So until then, drink water.
Meditate.
Kill bodies.
Good.
All right, everyone, that'll do it for this week of Transitions from War. Go ahead and subscribe to the show, follow it. Find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can email me, mike@transitionsfromwar.com with any questions or ideas for the show. And please send the show to people you know who might need to listen to it. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes if you get a chance. And just thanks for listening. All right, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.